Today, I stumbled into Xinxin Ming. In English, it's translated as faith mind. Let me see if what's the right translation. Faith mind inscription. I think it was when I was talking about being at the state of absolute being. And relating to that was non-duality. And also relating to that, I was talking about samadhi, no mind and no self, to get to the core of our being. And I also called it as the eternal home. Some of those words are borrowed from somewhere, and the term like eternal home and being at the state of absolute being, I think you get the flavor of it, that's like my invention of those words that fit me, so I keep using it. So just to reflect on what's been happening in the last month or more, I have been talking about the samadhi state. It's very important. It's the calm and quiet mind state. Make good judgment and come up with the wisdom, compassion, or even get to the state of awakening or awakened state. And what is awakened state? It's not easy to express because it just has to be experienced, just like the word non-duality. Unless you have the sense of what it is, just playing with words doesn't do any good. And this Xinxin Ming, faith mind inscription, is one of those sutras. I think this was done by the Chinese Zen monk, Xinxin, maybe the fourth patriarch, from Buddha lineage coming down, I think around the fourth or so. I could be wrong, but it's about that. And this is like a clear condensation of the state when you awakened. And then you clarify what you have discovered in words. Again, unless you have experience, just following the logic of the word doesn't get it. So, years ago, I encountered Xinxin Ming through the book of Daisetsu. And I think he said something like this: capture the essence of Zen. And I haven't talked about it directly, Xinxin Ming, in my video, I don't think. But has been discussed in many different angles. But today, as much as I start to talk about Myokonin in Shin Buddhism, because there's something totally amazing and wonderful there, I want to talk. And along with that, and this discussion of the state of absolute being triggered me to think of Sosan and this Xinxin Ming. And when I look at it, because I haven't been away, but it just comes back to me. And possibly, and I feel a much deeper understanding of what this is about. So usually I go with whatever is happening in my life and discuss it. And I have been discussing about this issue about Trump and Elon Musk. But after the Zelensky coming to the U.S. and talked with the Trump, and things have gone on to the level that I see some potential light in the tunnel. And I'm going to focus on whatever I feel it right to focus on, considering my age at 77 almost, and to capture the essence of this faith-mind inscription, Xinxin Ming. Probably this is the last time I will look into it. So let's see how I can make sense out of what this is about. I'll put the URL in description so you have the same information. And here we go. Faith Mind Inscription. Xinxin Ming. Shin is belief. Jin or Shin is mind. Mei is inscription. So it's something about the mind with the faith. And the faith for what? Faith for capturing the core of our being, if I were to choose some word. So, verse 1, the best way is not difficult. It only excludes picking and choosing. Once you stop loving and hating, it will enlighten itself. Let's stop there. When he said that best way is not difficult, it means the best way to live life is the way I take it. And we may think it's difficult because there are so much things going on, like this Trump and Musk and politicals and issues related to climate change, unknown future. Given that, how do we navigate life? And Sosan says, the way is not difficult. He says, it only excludes picking and choosing. Just one simple sentence. The best way is not difficult, it only excludes picking and choosing. That's totally appropriate to say that. But when I read this first time, I felt funny. Because if you don't choose anything, that is your choice too. Or something like that. I was picking how you choose to not to choose anything. But that's appropriate to think like that. Because the situation we go through all of this is related to mind and body, or mind and heart. And there's a paradoxical relationship. And the best way to find is not just find in your mind. That's as simple as that. How long did I take to get that? I just don't know it. But at the time when I read this, 20-some years ago, this sentence ending with this not choosing, good or bad, or picking and choosing, not the best way is not difficult, it only excludes picking and choosing. But I thought I was choosing to say that. But I can let go because that's the right way, the best way to not choose. Just like expect the unexpected, or reflecting on what happened but no regret, you can choose to be unhappy. But if you exclude picking and choosing into the future or into the past, the best is not difficult if you can do that. And there again, what it's pointing is not play in your mind, meaning that you exist only in your mind. When you are born and little, you don't know who you are. It took time to get the sense of words and the logic, language, that my name is Kiyoshi or Kiyo. Who is me? That's Kiyoshi. So there's choice and the protocol of how we communicate with the words. That's beyond the animals and trees. Most likely, some animals may be smart to get called their names, the dogs, they may come. But it's very primitive compared to man. Okay, maybe you're bored already. But this is foundation. And if you get this line, it's almost like I don't need to say anything more. But since you may get bored or not truly understand the meaning of it, well, some of you may, I'll keep on going. So first line, the best way is not difficult. It only excludes picking and choosing. Second line, once you stop loving and hating, it will enlighten itself. What it means that if you stop picking and choosing, which is the same as you stop loving and hating. Again, samadhi, no mind, no thinking. At the state of no thinking, you don't exist, no ego, and no duality of right and wrong, and loving and hating. And when you stop loving and hating in samadhi, it will enlighten itself. Mind will enlighten itself. Mind is calm, and out of that, something happens. It's called enlightenment. And that's the word. It will enlighten itself. It becomes obvious, everything as it is. Meaning, no mind, no word. And if I emulate that state right now, I have been talking using logic, but since I mentioned that stop loving and hating, and extending to that is stop using your mind, it will enlighten itself. You get to the eternal home, the core of our being, at deeper level of samadhi. So not just stopping, like reading a book and stop, because your mind is still playing. There's inertia, and all the bubbling up of the memories and all that pops up. But when he says once you stop loving and hating, it's really stopping it. When you are good at it, you can stop like this, like in meditation. You don't start thinking meditation, you start to stop thinking. And when you're sitting, breathing and focusing on breathing, thought pops up. So even if you stop it, you don't stop it to pop up. So what he means is that you you have to stop. Even you don't exist. So samadhi, I go back to the basics. No thinking, no mind, no self. It will enlighten itself. I posted the video of my being here in comfortable room with a scanning the area. At the time, my mind was stopped. My mind stopped. And right now, you get to that samadhi state. I get to it. But you may be listening and thinking, what is this guy talking about? And if that's the case, that's fine. Let's see how much time I used. Okay, 16 minutes. So let's stop here. We haven't finished the first verse of Xinxin Ming. But it's okay. You don't have to keep thinking what comes next. And you want to find your home, eternal home. I would imagine where you feel comfortable, but that's comfortable not in the typical sense of comfortable in mind, drinking beer and flipping the TV and all that, and you think it's comfortable, but mind still keep going. And Xinxin Ming was talking about stop loving and hating and other things too, liking and not liking, or so it's unusual state for the typical people because we are trained to use our mind, starting with the name and who I am, what's right and wrong. And then after developing it, and we believe this is everything, and then you start to lose the connection to your heart and the body and the state of being. So become more mechanized, and peace is lost. You rush it, get into the rat race. I did that too, because it's also fun. But I have been always thinking, is this it? Is this it? Do I keep doing? How much money to make? How to become famous? One book and another book and videos and other videos. This country, that country, checking on the map. And how much money accumulate, what, all of that. And also ups and downs. We may wise up at certain point. What's life? What is all about life? What is life all about? What's the meaning of life? If you don't think about it, about such question, that's your choice. As Xinxin may say, it's your choice or not choosing to be enlightened. And enlightened doesn't mean anything because it's just a word. But that's the beginning of Zen. Also the beginning of Zen is when you cannot do anything in your mind. What do? When you lost money, broken up relationship, or the miseries, the house burned on the fire, accident, health issue, life brings us some challenges. So that's the reason for finding something within us, outside of the mind, which actually, in my term, brought us to live on this earth. It's the nature's way. You didn't plan to do it. So why don't we get to know who or what brought us on this earth and how are we living and breathing and dying? You don't have to think, if you don't want to think, because you cannot think. But there's a way to go beyond the paradox or beyond the confinement of the mind. Let's keep looking into it as an adventure. I'm doing it again to see if I make sense out of this. And if you have a question or comment, please send it to me so maybe we can exchange some ideas.